Hello friends, in this video we are going to be modeling the slab system successfully in Protastructure. So we come over to where we have the grid set out right here, and then we are going to be taking this grid by converting it into DSF file so it can be interpreted by Protastructure. At first we will take these grid lines to the origin, so we locate the origin of the AutoCAD graphic system. To do that, we type L on the keyboard and then we enter. We type O or 0 right there and comma 0 and enter. You can see it has located a point which is the origin right there. Click X-Square and then I want to copy the grid set out just like this, and then I can also move it, type it M on the keyboard. I trace this edge and picked from this point. Take it over to the origin just like this and I place it here. I'll delete this reference line just like this. Here we go. So I'll highlight all of this right now and then W for right block, enter, and then I come to the three dotted provisions. I clicked. I want to navigate to my desktop and I'll save this as West. Alright, just like this. I'll make sure the file of type is DSF format, you can see. Okay, click on the save options right there, and then in the instruction units make sure it is millimeters. All right, then click on the OK options to have it saved to the desktop. I now have to minimize AutoCAD and then I bring up Protastructure. I click on the new project on the Protastructure, the project name, I'll type it as West. Alright, just like this. Okay, you can give it any name, but for the sake of this presentation, I use this name. Alright, so I scroll down to my template. I'll be using this 810. We also consider ACI code as we make progress in this presentation successfully. I click on OK to create this 810 template successfully. This 810 template is created successfully, as you can see. So we are going to be importing the DSF file we saved to the desktop by going to the video set out provisions and then DSF import. Click right there and then in these provisions click on load DSF, and then we'll navigate to the desktop. Then we'll look for the file name as West, this one. Click on open. We give it some time to open in this provision. It's up now. You can see the import type is floor plan. You have to choose that options, and then the layers consist of the grid and columns as well as wall, but we will uncheck the wall provisions. Okay, later we will apply that successfully. After which we click on the import to have it imported. So it is imported successfully. I click on the close options from here, and then here are the columns set out, being imported successfully, as you can see. So we proceed to carry out the beam system. So this first story is a default story of height 3 meters from the story 0 right there. Okay, so we click on the modeling tab right there, and then we will go to beam. We are going to be considering this section of 225 in the provision here, and then here is going to be 450 beam depth successfully, just like this. So we will start to draw a beam system. So I choose to click here and align this to this extent. Release my hand to have my beam. extracted. Just like this, and then I do the same thing over to this side. Clicked to have the beam extracted, and over here, same thing over here. This is how I will just have to insert my beams system successfully, after which I will also have a beam in these directions. I will have a beam also here. Okay, and then I zoom closed and have my beams also in these provisions, and then here as well. Okay, now this provisions is my shear wall, right? So quickly I will close this beam dialog. I get back to the modeling tab. I click on the wall. So in the shear wall provisions, I'm having 250 right here, which is what I'm going to be considering. Okay, so we placed some shear wall in these provisions. We also have shear wall all around, just like this. Right, I close this dialog. Okay, and select any of this beam, and then I right click on the properties. I pick from this point all the way to this point, all the way to this point, and then I have this. Successful. I close this dialog. Alright, the next thing we are going to be modeling is the cantilever beams. Okay, so I'll select from this beam, right click and then click on the properties. I have a cantilever beam from this point to this point. Okay, you can see the sign right there shows that it is a cantilever beam. This arrow head pointing downward. Okay, so I'll also have a cantilever beam right here. Okay, so at this point I want to pick from this point to connect this beam up to the shear wall. I'm going to split it. Alright, so I'll click on the use options to split it, just like this. Same thing applicable here. I'm going to split it right here. Yes option, and then I connect it to this point. Yes options, just like this. Okay, so having done with this, at this first floor we are going to be having a solid slab at this first floor. Right, solid slab. So we'll proceed to generate the slab system. Okay, so I'll go to the slab tab right there, but by then I will have to enable my loading combinations successfully. So for me to do that, come over to where I have loading options. In that loading options, see load cases and combination. I click in the provisions. In this dialog, I go to loading generator, and then I'll quickly activate the vertical load combinations. We are not going to consider horizontal loading combination in this video. Click on OK. I click on OK again. After which I can now proceed to carry out the slab instructions. Okay, so I go to the modeling tab. Before then, I have to save this project. Alright, so now I get back to the modeling tab, click on the slab. The slab dialog, I give my slab thickness is a solid slab of 150 millimeters thickness. Concrete cover is 150 millimeters as well. And then the slab type, we are going to discuss that, especially during the design. Okay, successfully. So we're using only type 1. I click in this provision for the load, additional load. I have it to be 2 kilonewton per square meters. The purpose of this structure is a commercial structure, so we can call it commercial kitchen. We can take it to the office for general use. This is a shopping mall. Okay, so we can look for the, okay, we can use this 4 kilonewton per square meters for the imposed load successfully. After which you start to insert the slabs just like this. Just as I said earlier, at the first floor we'll be having a solid slab. Okay, this first floor is going to be a solid slab just like this. Okay, so this is how we install slab. In this provision we have a staircase here. All right, so here we will insert our slab just like this. Okay, over here just this panels. Okay, so we have installed the slab successfully on these panels. Okay, I click on the close options. All right, now we have to generate stories. But for us to generate stories, we'll first of all create the entrance into the lift well. Okay, so I'll select this wall because this is the entrance. Okay, let me navigate to 3D. Navigate to the 3D so that you can actually see what we're doing. Just like this. Okay, so I have here to be an entrance, okay, into the lift well. All right, so I want to create an opening there. So create an opening, have that provision selected, and then you just have to right click. So in the drop down menu, if you scroll down, you can see wall opening editor. So you click on that wall opening editor. So you can see the opening editor. You click on hard right there. So that is it. So now we are going to be starting from the height. Here is 1 meter. We'll have the height to be 2100, just like this. If you click here, you can see it goes up, and then you can see the directions in the Y. Okay, we bring it down. Let's say we make it 100 right here, just like this. Okay, then the entrance width of this lift well, we consider it to be 1 meter, which is this W, right? Okay, after we click on the OK options to have it inserted just like this, you can see it is quite a little bit offsetted upward because it is considering the normal ground level. Okay, so if I click on the story 0, you can see what we are having. See, so this is the normal ground level where the green line is. All right. Okay, at this point we are going to be editing the story. Select on the story, right click, and then come to edit story. So in the edit story, we have story default height as 3 meters. We go by that. Foundation depth, we will be using 1800 millimeters for the foundation depth right here. After which we will proceed by clicking on the OK options for now. Yes options to have the changes successfully. After which we will proceed to generate or insert story first. We have a total number of 3 floors. 3. Okay, let's go by 4 floors right here. Okay, and then click on the OK option. So we navigate to the populated story, which is story 1, just like this. But before we start to generate story, it is fine we create the staircase. Okay, you have to create the staircase first before you start to generate your story. So we are going to be creating the staircase at this story 1. Right, to create your staircase, what you have to do, navigate to the plan view, and then here we go. We have this, and then we have this. We want this staircase to actually run along the side of these beams, or it may be anchored to the A7 grid lines successfully. Okay, let's go by that. So what I will do is this total story height is 3 meters. Okay, so I'll click on this slab right here, and then I'll have the slab thickness to be 180 for the for the stair landing. Okay, for the stair landing. So I'm going to use this provision. So I will come to instructions method, and then I will use big point. See big point options, instruction method. So I can pick this first point, pick the second point, pick the third point, pick the fourth point to have the slab placed successfully, just like this. Alright, so I click on the close, but by then I will have to insert it in these other provisions as well. So I also use big point, so I clear the existing point right there and use this point. I use this point, I use this point, and I scroll down. I use that point to have the slab just like this. Alright, I clear the existing instructions point again, and then go again to new instruction point. I zoom closely, pick that point, this point, all the way. I pick this point to have it inserted just like this. After which I close this. So for this one, the landing is going to be halfway. It's going to be halfway the story height. So to go halfway the story height, what you have there is 1,500 millimeters, because you are already having the total height of the story to be 3 meters successfully. So I will select this slab, right click and click on edit properties. Alright, so in the property relative story height, these provisions I'll put it as minus 1,500, just like this. If I click on the update, this slab goes down. Okay, you can see it right there. I click on close now. Let me navigate to the 3D so you see what I've done. Alright, so over here now you can see where the landing is. This is halfway. Alright, then for this one now I'm going to also be sending it down. Okay, so I'll right click, so the entrance you enter this way and then you go up. Alright, so I select this one, right click, and then I click on the properties. Relative storage tool is going to be minus 1,500. Click on the update. I have it just like this. You can see. Alright. Okay, so having gotten this successfully, we will now start to use our plane definitions to be able to carry out the inclinations successfully. I close this right away, and then I will go back to the plan view. Okay, so I can do that effectively. I scroll down. So this is this one. I'll start from this one. I get that selected, and then I'll navigate to the modeling tab. I have my plane definitions. I have that selected. In the plane definitions, you must be careful here about settings. Okay, so in the plane definition dialog, we have the label as P1. So as you are placing your planes, it will be labeling it as P1, 2, 3, and so on. Alright, so we use this point to navigate the site. We needed some elections successfully. So over here, the instruction point is beam region. So we'll change here to axis region, just like this. After which, we come over to this provision and click here to add P1. Okay, so this is plane 1, and next one is going to be plane 2, which is P2 successfully. So after which, we will have to close here. Alright, we select the P1 or P2. Let's start from P1 right here. Having that selected, you right click on that and click on edit properties. Okay, so we select that again, and then we have to check the properties of P1, or you double click on it to have this properties dialog, just like this. Okay, now in this one we are going to be having the elevations at point 3 to be minus 1,500, and then elevation at point 2 and 1 is going to be at 0 level. Alright, so we come over here at point 1 and 2 is going to be 0 at point 3. So what we will do is, you can just decide to use these provisions, pick it here, point 1, and then locate it here so that you can be sure of where point 1 is. Update it. See, it has changed to point 1. Alright, pick this. This is your point 2. Pick that point and click on update to be sure that we have these 2 points as point 1 and point 2. Then pick this point, come over here, click here and update it to be sure that you have your point 3 right here. After which we proceed. So you have to provide the elevations. Okay, so this is going to be minus 1500, just like this. I click on the update to have the change, just like this. Okay, close this. Right, we are okay with this. Come to plane definition 2, and then you double click on it to have the dialog. Do the same thing. Click on this point, click here. Let's have here as our point 1. Click on update. Right, and then pick here, click here. We'll have these provisions as point 2. Click on update. Right, and then for point 3, pick here and then click here. We'll have that point update as point 3. So we are also going to be sending down this point 3, okay, by minus 1500. Okay, so we come over to point 3 provisions. We have minus 1500, just like this. Click on the update. So this is what we have. Okay, we have done all the necessary settings. All right, for you to get the AutoCAD file for this training, you will check the link in the description of this video. You will have the file download right from the description of this video successfully. Okay, so I'll click on the close options from here. So here we go. Let's navigate to the 3D right there. So we have something of this kind. There is no inclination yet. Okay, so for us to now initiate inclinations, we have to minimize here. You can see plane here, planes 1 and 2. I'll select the first one, right click, and then I will move member to plane. I click that provisions and then yes options. You see what I've gotten right here. You can see. Okay, it's been moved successfully. The same thing applicable to plane 2. Right, move member to axis. You have this successfully. Unfortunately, you can see the column also moved. Alright, but that's not an issue. We'll correct that now. So select this column, right click on it, or double click on it to have a dialog open successfully, just like this. I need the dialog, just like this. Okay, so come to the 3D provisions. You can see the plane be affected. Remove that and click on the update options to have the columns sent up successfully. That is done in these provisions. Left right of the plane and update. So you're supposed to update these columns. Let me see what happens here. Alright, I'll right click there again, click on the properties, onto the 3D. Alright, so we have here to be 0. Instead of minus 1500, you key in 0 right there. Click on the update. Okay, it is not correcting. Then remove this plane right here and then click on the update. You see it goes up successfully. I closed. You can see now we have our column in place. Okay, so you see at this point now is the normal ground level, which is to the 0. If you double click right there, you can see that we have to the 0 right here. Okay, so we are going to be having a beams connecting this point now. So click on the beam. So here we have a beam of 225 by 450, just like this. Okay, then after which we pick this point, or the way we pick this point, see the beam goes down. Alright, so we have a beam depth of 450, right? Just get rid of this command. Okay, so the foundation depth we have there is 1.8. So if we do 1.8 minus 450, we should be having 1350, right? Yes, 1350. So having the beam selected, come to the provisions, and then you see these elevations where we have it to be 1350, just like this, in both I and J end of the beam successfully. Click on the update. See, beam goes up just like this. You can see. Click on the OK options, so you can see what we are having. So we are done with modeling the stair. If you want to support this stair with a cantilever beam as well, you can do that successfully. Supporting the stair with cantilever beam. Sorry, the stair landing, this landing with cantilever beam, you can do that successfully. Alright. So having done this successfully, we are good to go. We can now proceed. We have already generated stories. So let's create the first stories and see how it looks. Alright, for the first stories, we will have to navigate to the story right there. Right click and click on generate story. The generate story dialog. We have populated story, okay, which is the source story, story 1. We want to take it to story 2. So as story 2, we wouldn't need solid slab. We want to use Raft slab, so we have to uncheck most of these members properties. Uncheck that. We only need we don't really need beams here. Okay, we need beam for the ribs. Okay, the primary beams. Click on the OK options and yes options. So this will be created successfully. So click on OK. So you can see we have a beam system without slab right here. Okay, let's get and check the. You can see what we're having here. Okay. So now we'll start to create the rib beams before we now also generate a stories as well. Okay. So we have this successfully, just like this. After we create the rib beams right here, we now proceed to generate to the next floor to create. Okay, this floor we will be using a flat slab here, or we will be using a waffle slab. After which the next floor we can apply the rib beams successfully. So we'll do all of that in the next presentations. So for this presentation, we are going to be stopping here. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like as well. If you need a personal training on this software, you can also reach to us, and we will train you from A to Z of the nitty-gritties of this software successfully.